Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. I'm JT Holmes. I'm here with local skier, ski mountaineer, and climber, Andrew McLean.
Hey, JT.
Andrew, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
So, of climbing and skiing, which is your favorite, or which combination thereof?
It would be skiing. I can't remember a time that I didn't ski. My mom was a ski instructor at Alta, so I grew up skiing and loved skiing. And then later on, I got into climbing, rock climbing, and that kind of led to combining the two activities later on. You know, there was always, like, in summer I'd climb, and then at one point I'd start skiing. So to be able to blend the two and climb up stuff and then ski down it and use ropes and make technical ski descents was kind of the perfect world, hybrid.
Absolutely. I'm a multi-sport athlete, and I do hybrid sports as well, but if I had to choose one, I'm the same as you. I'd just go with those skis. But now, you're working locally here for Black Diamond, which is
I worked as a
in
skier for Black Diamond Equipment for, let's see, from 1990 all the way through, I think, about 2003. I worked full-time as a product designer at Black Diamond. I have a background in the college degree in industrial design, so I designed things like the hot wire carabiner and Camelots, whippets, peckers, talons, so hardware, sharp, pointy
I buy some of that stuff.
Objects.
Yeah, I love Black Diamond's equipment. They're good.
Through working at Black Diamond, which is down in Salt Lake, I got into ski mountaineering and just met a lot of people that are in the industry, and one trip led to another, and then the day job started to get in the way, and I just became a full-time skier. You know, it was kind of the whole backcountry ski movement in the U.S. was taking off, and at first it was just there was no sponsorship. There was, it was just a weird fringe sport. But then as it started to gain and the equipment got better and more people started doing it, suddenly it was like, oh, I can work with Mountain Hardware, I can work with Black Diamond, I can work with, Dynafit, Scarpa, all these different companies, and suddenly it became a viable, semi-viable, full-time, but very fun job. So I started doing that, and I was just going to do that for 1 or 2 years, and it turned into 15.
Well, you should be proud of yourself, because that's a good run, and you were a catalyst in that movement. It's because of some of the equipment that you were designing and some of the tracks that you were laying down that, this whole thing has a lot of energy. It's a lot more user-friendly. Everything's lightweight, and a lot more people out there. It's getting tracked up quicker. That's your fault too.
It is, yeah.
What do you find what's the most challenging type of descent for you? I know that, I see these tracks out there, and I think to myself, how the heck did, and it's like a puzzle that you know how to solve, but what's the challenge for you? What's the?
Puzzle is a great way to, it's just putting all these pieces together, like how to get up, how to ski it safely, avalanche concerns, partners, strategies for skiing down. So it really depends, there's and it grows. Like when I first got into skiing something like Mount Superior right across from Snowbird was like, huge, big, scary voodoo type thing. But you do that and you're kind of like, oh, you figure out a little bit of the puzzle, and then you make a little bigger puzzle, and you go to Alaska, and then you start traveling around. And so trying to find, a big challenge is trying to find new places to go that are, skiable. Like you could say, oh, I'm going to go ski K2. But I mean, that might be taking too big a bite, right? So you have to find something that's fun and challenging, but also safe and doable. So, coming up with the idea and then being able to ski it is a big part of the challenge of it.
Sure. And you mentioned partners. Who do you ski with mostly?
I ski with a lot of people. Over the years, it kind of changes. If I'm skiing locally, I spend a lot of time with my wife. So, she's a die-hard backcountry skier. If I'm traveling on an expedition, I like a lot of friends from the Tahoe, Truckee area. Todd Offenbacher, Glenn Polson is a 5-star partner. So it really depends. You have to have people that are willing to be adventuresome and travel and roll with the punches type of thing.
Well, that's the Glenn Polson I know.
Yes. Yes. And he always says yes.
Yeah. He's a wonderful guy. Now, this is your home range. Obviously, you could live wherever you want to in the world, given the flexibility that you've attained as being just an athlete now. What Why is it the Wasatch?
Well, the thing that I've come to appreciate about the Wasatch is that it has great quality snow, and it's very, very accessible. There's none of this. We have approaches, but the approaches are 20 minutes type of thing. I mean, you open your car door and you skin straight up and ski straight down. There's no, in Montana and Colorado, they've got huge peaks, but you have to go a long ways in. You have to camp. It just gets a lot more complicated to get into some of these ranges like the Sierra and the Elks and things like that. In the Wasatch, we've just got great access and great powder and very skiable mountains.
And globally, if you had to choose a range that wasn't the Wasatch, what's the most fascinating one? Is it up in Alaska? Is it the Himalaya? Talk to me.
Does Alaska count as a range?
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right. There's many ranges. That was a bad one. But
I really like probably the St. Elias range up in the Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve. That's it's just kind of the wild kingdom, mountain kingdom. It's got very skiable peaks, great snow, huge variety. Very remote. You have to fly into a lot of it. It's the area itself is bigger than all of Switzerland. There's no roads in it, so.
Wow.
It's pretty incredible. It's part of the Chugach. I mean, there's 4 mountain ranges, the Wrangells, St. Elias, Chugach, and one smaller one that doesn't have much skiing in it. But so yeah, it's basically parts of the Chugach and things like that. Big peaks, good snow.
Huh. And the time of year there, you go in April, May?
Yeah, April seems to be the prime time.
Yeah.
Getting in there is the hard part. You can go earlier, but it's dark and there are no pilots. So.
Right. And have you been to the big ranges over in Himalaya and
I did. Yeah, we tried to ski Shishapangma, which is the an 8,000 meter peak, and it didn't end up well. We had 2 fatalities. It was Alex Lowe and Dave Bridges died in that. And it was. I really loved the travel, the terrain, everything about it, but. High altitude skiing has pretty low odds of success, and the actual skiing is pretty blown out. The peaks are so high and dry and cold that you're really just side slipping down a lot of, gasping for breath, side slipping with a headache.
It doesn't sound like fun
for
at
a
all.
lot of money. But I went there, and now what I try to do is just find areas that have kind of a rich concentration of good skiing, because you go there and if you can ski steep lines, you ski them. If it's tricky avalanche conditions, you ski something mellower. So exploring new areas.
Well, speaking of skiing high alpine descent, our friend Jim had quite the springtime. Jim Morrison. He skied from the 6th highest mountain in the world and the 1st highest. So congratulations to Jim Morrison. And what's next for you?
Well, I've got, coming up in October, I'm getting together with a group of Tahoers, going down to Antarctica.
Oh, yeah?
So we'll do the Ice Axe Antarctic Ski Cruise, which is Doug Staup rents, charters an entire cruise ship, fills it with about 100 people, 25 guides, and we go down and go skiing on the peninsula. So that's coming up, and then they might have another trip after that. There would be a private charter, and then I've got trips planned up to Alaska. My wife works for the city of Park City, and our sister city is Courchevel, so she's over in Courchevel working, supposedly, now. So I'm going to go join her for a couple of weeks there, just to, we've got 2 little girls, 7 and 8 and 10, so we'll go over and I'll hang out with them.
Now, are you guiding? Are you a certified guide?
I do some guiding. Like on the Antarctica trip, I guide. To get down there is logistically tough, and this will be my 11th trip down there. So I have a lot of experience on the peninsula.
And have you skied every continent?
I did, yeah. I made a project out of it a few years ago. At one point I was like, I've skied 5 out of 7, so I saved Africa for towards the end, thinking it would just be kind of a weird oddball, go there, stomp around on snow, and it turned out the Atlas Mountains in Morocco were fantastic, like really good. No BS.
Really?
I was 5,000 foot.
Good
cool,
to know. Wow, 7
cool
continents, 150 first descents. Those are probably getting harder and harder to achieve, huh?
Yeah, I mean, good ones.
Yeah.
You could go out and find some obscure,
Yeah.
scrappy little line and
Exactly.
say it's a first descent, but the good ones, the big, obvious, fun ones are getting tougher to find. Got to
Yeah.
be more secretive about them.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Well, I applaud you for all the fresh tracks and steep lines, and I thank you for the advances in equipment, because
it's fun.
it's definitely changed my world getting out there with the lighter stuff, and
It makes a big difference in touring.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at it in a store, you're like, oh, it's only a pound or two here, but a pound or two every single step you take. A pound, second
yeah,
pound,
and
third
reliability
pound.
has really gone
And
up
the
too.
reliability, and just there's been a big wave of development and better equipment. So
Yeah,
been
and
good
being
to see.
the bindings are lower, and then your kick turns are easier, and it's
Yeah.
just all of it.
The whole package.
Yep.
Skins are better.
Yep, I'm speed riding. You guys make some nice poles that collapse and go
Yeah.
into my backpack, and
Yep.
yep. Well, great. Is there anything else you want to mention to the viewers of Park City Television?
Have a good time. Enjoy your stay.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful time of year to be here.
great. Well, thanks very much for coming on
JT.
the show, and we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back.